Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be giving you guys some good summer book recs and also sharing with you the books I want to get to by the end of this summer. Now I know we're midsummer, we're going towards the end of summer, which is absolutely crazy. This year in general is going very quick, and for someone that's in a bit of a slump right now, I know I've talked about it a bit recently, I thought it'd be a good idea to give you guys some book recommendations if you're looking for some new books to read this summer and some books that are on my TBR for when I'm out of my slump. But also I always love watching TBR videos to get some recommendations for my own TBR as well. So lots of recommendations in this video, lots of books to talk about. We're gonna chill, hang out, chat about some books, have a good time. I do want to start off this book recommendations video by recommending some authors just in general that I think are great for the summer, but their books are ones that I talk about a lot on my channel. They get very repetitive on here because I do love a lot of their books, if not all of them, but I want to shout them out before getting into this book recommendations video because I'm not going to be talking about any of their books here because I talk about them a lot, like I said. But the authors that I would definitely recommend for the summer: Emily Henry, Liz Tom Ford, Annabelle Monaghan, Abby Jimenez, Sarah Adams, Elsie Silver, and Lila Sage. You cannot go wrong with any of these authors. They're all romance authors. I would say Emily Henry is the most closest to a contemporary women's fiction mixed with romance, and also I would say Annabelle Monaghan as well with that. But all the other authors, including those two, they are romance authors and romance books that they have come out with. I would recommend those authors if you've not read any of their books. It's the perfect season to get into any of them, but I will not be talking about any of their books in this video because I feel like I get very repetitive with them. Let's start with the book recommendations. We're going to start with some romance books. The first one I have is a recent read, and that is The Summer We Ran by Audrey Ingram. This one is actually a second chance romance. What I liked about this one is the setting is just peak summer. So you have two timelines. Back in the day, our two main characters met when they were about 17 years old. They come from very different upbringings. The present timeline is decades and decades later. They both have different lives, different families. They haven't talked since that summer fling, and they're both running for governor of Virginia. Yes, they're both running for governor of Virginia, and secrets from their past from when they spent that one summer together are like threatening to come out. The stakes are pretty high because it could ruin their political campaign, it could ruin their families. There's so much that comes out. If you like drama and you like secrets and stuff like that, I think you'd really enjoy this. I do think you'd enjoy it if you also like second chance romances. It's not my favorite in that trope, but it was done really well. It's so fast paced and it's perfect for the summertime. If you want a bingeable romance book, I would recommend this one, and the audiobook is pretty good. The next one is another recent read, and that is Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. This is the perfect beach book. If you want to binge a book on the beach, I'd like highly recommend taking this one with you. Her writing style in general is really bingeable, but something about this one was like I couldn't put it down. I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was just something about it was so good to me. It's actually an age gap romance, so our female character has always had a thing for her brother's best friend. It gives two timelines, which I really liked about this book. So in the past timeline, they, you know, became friends, they connected, and they just like talked a lot. If you heard that, that was thunder. Anyway, in the present timeline, they're all getting together for her brother's wedding in Italy, which that setting and that atmosphere and just being transported into Italy is just so beautiful, perfect, picturesque. It is just like an Italian summer week. It is so amazing. And then, you know, they see each other again. There kind of is a strain on the relationship, and then you get the past chapters to kind of explain what happened, what went wrong, almost in a second chance way, and it gives a lot of context to their relationship. And what I really liked about this one is I really liked our female main character. I can definitely understand where she was coming from, like how she acted around him and how she felt about him. Like it all just like really made sense. I loved the setting, I loved the characters, banter was really good, and it was just really fast paced, super bingeable, and a great summer read. Then we have one of my favorite romances this year, and that is One Golden Summer. This is the epitome of a summer romance. You're following our female main character Alice, who spent a summer when she was 17 at a lake house, and when she was there, she took a photograph of these three kids, you know, swimming across a lake on a boat, and that kind of started her photography career and her passion for it. Now it's years later, she's in her 30s, she comes back to the same lake, and she sees one of the people that were in that photograph, and that is Charlie, our male main character. Charlie is flirty, his banter is amazing, he's very confident, and he's very witty, and he kind of keeps Alice on her toes. You know, she's very shy, but like she comes out around him, and they spend the summer together. They go jet skiing, they go on the boat, and it's a great summer romance. It's so good, and there's more to the story that makes it a bit more emotional, and I'm obsessed with it. The flirtiness in here is just, it's so good. Then we have Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. I feel like most of her books are fall coded to me, but this one specifically is so summer because our female main character comes back to her small town in North Carolina, and the setting is just so cute. It's like a small beach town, but she comes back to her small town like she does every single summer, and she is a songwriter, but she has this song that's stuck in her head, and then she also has this guy's voice in her head, and she finds out who the guy is because he comes in singing the same song. They kind of don't really get along, but they get to know each other because they can hear each other's thoughts. And I thought that part, like the magical realism of this book, was just so unique. And in a lot of romances, obviously you can't hear what the other person is thinking about you, but in this one they kind of can't get out of each other's heads, and the way they connect over that is really, really good. But following Joni, our female main character, on her journey coming back, she's kind of lost. They're also trying to sell the family business. There's a lot going on. She's overthinking everything. Everything feels kind of out of control for her, but she connects with our real main character, and the magical realism is so unique in here. You have a romance, you have some fiction elements, and it's really, really good. The small town is so cute. Then I have two books that have the exact same premise, so I'm gonna recommend them together. There's just some elements that make them a little bit different, but when I read the second one after reading the first one that I read that had like the same concept to them, I was okay. These are very, very similar. So we have Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone and Passion Project by London Sperry. These both are essentially about our female main characters that are going through something. This one specifically, I feel like, delves more into the grief that our female main character is going through, but our female main character in here is also going through a lot of depression and anxiety that's definitely represented. And in both of these, the anxiety, depression, and the grief are represented so well, and I really love that part of these books. And the male main characters come in and they kind of help our female main characters find passion again. This one, Passion Project, and then this one, they just have like a list of things to like a live again list. Both of these relationships start out pretty platonic in a way, and then it's very, very slow burn as the relationship grows and as they're trying to help the female main character, you know, find passion and live again and everything like that. I think if you like more of an emotional romance, you'll like this one more, but if you like more of a rom-com New York City setting, you'll like this one more. They both also take place in New York, but like this one I feel like gives more into that setting. This one's definitely more emotional, which I think I like this one more just for that element, but they're honestly very, very similar. I would recommend both of them. This one's a bit faster paced, more bingeable, but again, this one just dives a little bit deeper. If you like Summertime in the City, you will love these two books. Then we have Pictures of You by Emma Gray. This one is a fast-paced book. I read it earlier this year, but as I read it, I felt like it would be definitely a good bingeable summer read. It's kind of a romance, kind of a mystery. It mixes the genres together, which I thought was really, really interesting, and it kept me wanting to turn the page. The chapters are so short. You're following Evie, who wakes up suddenly and she has all the memories from when she's 17 and before, and she's in her 30s, I believe. She's trying to put all these pieces back together of her memory and like what happened and the events leading up to it, and then comes in another character who has his own point of view in this book, who knew her when she was 17. He has all these memories of her, and he's trying to help her but doesn't want to like feed in to sway her opinions or anything, so you see his point of view of the memories he has of her. She has no idea about it, and it's so interesting of a read. Like I said, it's very, very bingeable, and I think it's a perfect book to bring with you to like the beach or something and just like binge in the whole day. It was really, really good, and a great mix, like I said, of the genres. Then I have my favorite summer rom-com of last year, The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. I still think about this book. I think this is the perfect summer rom-com. It made me giggle like I've never giggled to a book before. Like the female main character in here is just for some reason so funny to me. You're following Anna and Liam, who in college got married just for convenience reasons. They weren't really in love or anything, and then they went their separate ways after college. But Liam comes back to Anna and is basically like, you need to come with me to my sister's wedding because they think that we're still married and I need to like show face and everything like that. He comes from this very, very, very wealthy family, like insanely rich, so she goes with them, and it's like on this island. It's like the perfect picturesque thing. Her point of view of them is so good. Like she is so funny, and then you have that like rom-com comedy mixed with the romance as it gradually grows between them, that like they have a connection eventually, and it's so good. If you want a summer rom-com that has the comedy and the romance and it's done like so well, highly recommend this one. I also listened to a bit of the audiobook, and I would recommend that as well if you want to give it a try, but I still think about this book to this day, and it's like one of my favorite summer rom-coms. Then I have a book that's part of an interconnected standalone series. I've only read this one, which is technically the second one, and this is Our Scorching Summer by Kels and Denise Stone. I read this a few summers ago, and if you like a spicy friends with benefits kind of vacation rom-com sense, I think you would really enjoy this one. The two main characters are just like completely not interested in settling down. You know, Nico, the male main character, has been very flirty. That's just like his personality, and she's like not put up with that for a while, but she's known that for a while. They've been in each other's lives, and they end up taking this very spontaneous vacation away together, and then that ensues the friends with benefits situation on the said vacation. Feelings obviously get involved, but it's a very spicy, very fun summer romance. I really liked our two main characters. I really ended up connecting with them. It has some silly moments in it, but it was a good read. I read it on the beach. It was a perfect setting to read this book. On the complete other side of the romance spectrum, I actually have a YA romance, and I don't read much YA anymore, honestly. I don't really connect to it unless I'm reading it for more of like a nostalgic feeling, but this one is like such a good summer romance. It's called The Summer Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. Basically about Meredith, who lost her sister, and every year her family used to go to Martha's Vineyard, spend the summers there together, and play the game of assassin. They haven't gone since her sister died, but someone in the family is getting married, so they're going back to the island, and when they're there, they're all playing the game of assassin, which is like with water guns, you get a name of a target and whatever, and she teams up with our male main character, Wit, and they end up having this like summer fling situation. They're playing assassin together, but the depiction of young YA love that's very nostalgic, I really enjoyed that, mixed with grief, because she's obviously still grieving her sister, you know, the whole family really is, and all the mixture of that I think it was done really, really well. And then you have the great setting of Martha's Vineyard, like an East Coast summer with like the hydrangeas and everything like that, and all the houses together and running around on the beach. So the setting's really good, really fast paced. It touches on a lot of things. I think it's a perfect YA summer romance if you're looking for something like that. Then I have 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This one's a second chance romance. I read this a few summers ago, and I think about it frequently. I think if I read it now, I'd give it a higher rating. I give it like 4 stars, not a bad rating at all, but I think if I read it now, I'd give it even like a higher rating. I think about it often. Maybe I'll do a reread one day, but this one's essentially about 2 authors, and in present day they both have novels that they've come out with, but they meet again at, I don't know if it's a convention or like some writing retreat. I don't know, they meet up at some type of event 15 years after they spent some time together, and they actually write about each other in each other's books, like about each other. It's just that whole concept and idea I loved so much. But then you see 15 years prior, they spent 7 days together, and you see the way they connected, what they were going through. It's very emotional of a romance, and then obviously they see each other again. They have to rehash the history, and that's what I love in a second chance romance, when the history comes back and you can see how much they really know each other, all this stuff and time that's passed, and they obviously have to like talk about that again. But yeah, highly recommend this one if you want emotional second chance romance. I definitely want to reread this one day. I don't know when, because I'm in the biggest slump of my life, but I would like to. I have 2 more in the romance section. The first one is The Infinity Between Us by N.S. Perkins. This was like the start of my love for second chance romances, that along with Love in Other Words, but this is like the perfect summer second chance romance. There's dual timelines. In the present day, they're coming back to this house on the beach that both of their families used to spend summers there together. Something happened, they just stopped going. The male main character is living there for the summer, but the female main character is actually coming back to sell the house and get it ready to sell, and he's like, no, spend the summer with me here, and then if you still want to sell at the end of the summer, you can do that. So they're spending time at the house where they, you know, had a connection back in the day, which you get that timeline of as well, and it leads up to like why they're not spending any time together there and why their families don't go anymore. So you have the both of the timelines, but the present day, there's so much like history in that house that obviously you see in the past timelines, and it all comes back to them, and they're spending a lot of time there, and it's just like, it's so good. It takes place like literally on the beach is the house. Perfect setting if you like a second chance romance and you want that beach setting. I think you'd really enjoy this one. It's a really fast paced, and it's also on Kindle Unlimited, if I'm not mistaken. I definitely read it on there, but that was a few years ago now. The last book I have for romances is May Luna. I would recommend this for a lot of different seasons, but right now I'm saying for summer because it's so bingeable, and it's definitely an emotional type of romance. So if you like fan fictions, and like 2012 is how I like would describe this book, if you read those, I think you would enjoy this. It's like a modern day written fanfic. You're following the present timeline of our 2 main characters telling the story of when they met back in the day. The female main character is telling it to her kids and explaining this like crazy story she had when she met the bandmate of this very famous band, and they're up and coming, and she was the journalist for it. She started dating the lead singer. She was very close to the whole band, you know, the whole lead up of that, and all the time they spent together, and like how they started dating, and then up until like why they're not together anymore. And then the male main character's point of view, he's giving an interview, like a tell-all of it. She is living the perfect YN like life, and then you're like, what happened, what ruined this? And it's so fast paced, chapters are so short, and you're so invested to find out what happened. So I don't want to say too much. I would say go into this a bit blind. It's really, really good, and right now I'm gonna say I would recommend it for summer, but if I'm coming in the fall to recommend it, it could also be a fall book. It honestly could be for any season, but for right now I say read it in the summer. Okay, the only other 2 genres I have is fiction and mystery, so I'm gonna go through those really quickly. We'll start with the fiction books. The first one is Hotel Nantucket by Ellen Hilderbrand. I would honestly recommend any Ellen Hilderbrand book for the summer. She writes primarily books that take place on Nantucket. Like when you picture New England summer, like it is Nantucket. Like it is the hydrangeas and the beach, and she writes just about like family dramas on there and relationship dramas, and it's just like, it's so entertaining, and it's so just mindless reads, and they're perfect beach reads. So the Hotel Nantucket's my favorite by her. If you want to get into her books, I would recommend this one to start. It's basically about this new hotel in Nantucket that comes up, and it's actually taking place of a place that like was burnt down back in the day. So there's like said to be like a ghost of a maid, and you actually get like her point of view, which is like a fun part of the book. You're basically following all of the workers. I always say if you like White Lotus, you'll love this because you're getting the inner works of the hotel and everything, the behind the scenes, and then you're seeing them like interact with all of like people staying there, and it's really entertaining. It's really good. You're getting like the tea and the drama and how everyone's like connected. It's really entertaining. So I would say if you want to take a beach day, take Hotel Nantucket with you. Then I would recommend My Friends by Frederick Bachman. This one is a perfect summer read if you want an emotional, general type fiction novel and you want something that will make you feel like in your heart lots of different emotions. You're following two different timelines. Present day, you're following Louisa on her journey to go to this painting that's like the center of the story. She's idolized this painting. She's gone through a lot, and you know, she's going through a lot personally right now as well. She's on this journey with this other character to some other place, and he's actually telling her the story of the painting, and you're getting that timeline of these friends that were in the painting, the artists of the painting, and a lot of things that they've gone through as well. And it takes place in the summertime. They're on the lake and everything like that, and you get like the mixture of the two timelines in a way, and how everything is like a little bit connected, and how Louisa and this guy that she's on the journey with connect when you don't think they like should connect. There's a lot in similarities that they have. His writing style in here is so unique. You know, you think you know where the story's going because it kind of tells you in the beginning, lots of foreshadowing. You think you know how it's going to end because he tells you like the end parts of it, but all of like the parts leading up to it and the little things he gives you in between that connect all the dots, it's just like his writing style is just like phenomenal. It is so good. Then I have another recent read, Main Characters by Hannah Orenstein. I would recommend this one on audiobook. It's one of those you can like play in the background that gives summer vibes. I wouldn't read this if you're in a slump. It's very slow pacing. Not too much is happening, but the setting in Maine is like perfect for the summertime. You're following two sisters who have the same father but different mothers, and they didn't know that they were sisters, but recently their father passed, so they're both going to the lake house that he had. One is actually there to pack it up and sell it. The other one is there to spend more time there. They've had different relationships with their father, and they see each other and they are just like so confused. There's so many family secrets that come out. There's relationships that are going on in here. They're bickering. There's just a lot of family fighting. Like I said, there's not much of a plot, so it's definitely slow. The characters are kind of annoying and insufferable, but there's a bit of like the family drama that comes out at the second half of it, and things are revealed that come out. And again, I would recommend the audiobook, but the setting of this just feels really good for the summertime. Then I have 7 Summer Weekends by Jane L. Rosen. This one I put into the general fiction section of this, not the romance, because I feel like it was more general fiction, but it has some romance. Like the second half it definitely picks up. This book was so fast paced to me. It's perfect for the summertime because our female main character is coming back to her grandma's house that she inherited in this like small beach town, and while she's there she's getting ready to sell the house, but every week someone new from the grandmother's life comes into the house and kind of gives, you know, their story and their relationship with their grandmother, and it kind of helps her see her grandma in like a totally different light. And I loved that. I loved the revolving door of all these different like characters coming in and like showing who her grandma was and what this town and house meant to her. And then she meets the neighbor, who I think he's a writer actually, but they like spend some time together and they get to know each other, and then that romance picks up, like I said, the second half of the book. But it's really good for the summertime, really fast paced, and I loved the summer town that they were in, and really unique, like the whole different people coming in every week, like a revolving door. So perfect for the summer. Then I have Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. This one I read, has it been like 3 years at this point? This was like a 5-star read a few years ago, but it's so good. It's perfect for the summertime because it takes place not only during the summer, but they take a trip to the beach. So you're following this young girl, I think she's 14, she's 14. It takes place in the 1970s, and she's babysitting for this family. She comes from a very, you know, conservative household. She has a lot of rules there, so when she goes to this family that she's nannying for, there's no rules there. They're singing all the time. There's a rock star staying with them, and there's just like a lot of freedom going on in there, and she loves it so much. And it's character driven. You're really just following her, learning about this family, nannying for this young girl, spending time with them, going to the beach with them. I honestly would like to reread this at some point, but it's the perfect summer novel. I loved this one. The last two I have are mystery books if you're looking for a mystery thriller for the summertime. The first one is Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. This one is about two best friends who lived in, I think it was Texas or something like that, and then one day one of the best friends dies and the other one is found like blood on her and everything, and the town just believes that she has killed her best friend, and she runs away somewhere else. But now there's a podcaster, a true crime podcaster, is trying to get the truth and is interviewing all these different people in the town. So that has her coming back home, going in for the interview, finally speaking on it years and years later. So you're getting the interviews of not only her but all the different townspeople. So you're seeing the rumors that everyone else is talking about, and you're seeing like what he's getting information on and then what she's saying. It's really interesting the way the pieces come together. Really fast paced. I think the podcast style of it was really interesting and a really good summer mystery. The last last one I have is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I think that's how you say his last name. This one's not my absolute favorite mystery, but it's really fast paced. The audiobook is really good and it takes place on an island in Greece, so I feel like that's the perfect summer setting for a mystery. You're essentially following this guy who's the narrator telling you the story of how there was a murder on the island. The character that's narrating the story isn't really like the main character of like the group that goes there. You're actually following this, like, I think she's like an ex-movie star. She's really famous, like hugely famous, and she takes all of her friends to her island on Greece, and that's where everything goes down. But what's really interesting about this one is the way it's narrated, because the guy's kind of like taking you out of the story. He's like, come have a drink with me, let me tell you what happened, what really happened, and then he like throws you into the story, and then does end like with the murder, so you're following the murder case on the island. But I think the narrating of this was really interesting, and like I said, perfect summer setting. It's not the best mystery thriller, but I think it will have you hooked. It's a great beach read mystery. Now let's get into the books that are on my summer TBR. Now I can confidently say I will not be getting to all of these books, but they're the ones I want to be reaching for. I've been loving having seasonal TBRs rather than doing a specific one every month, because then I just feel so guilty not getting to them when I have other books that I want to read, and it's just like, it was too much. It was too small of a TBR to be picking from when there's like so many books I want to choose from. So the seasonal TBRs have been great, and these are the ones that are on the rest of my summer TBR. Will probably fall into fall, but like for right now, these are on my summer TBR. Let's start with the ones on my physical TBR. The first one is Summertime Punchline by Betty Carrello. I think I got this last summer. I saw it takes place in New Jersey on like the Jersey Shore, so I was like, yeah, I'll read it, and it looks really cute. I like to go into books a bit more blind, so I don't really know the exact summary of this one, but I think it's a then and now timeline. It says that she lands a coveted spot at a huge comedy festival. She's forced to pack her bags and return to home she swore off at 18. She has 45 days to perfect a new comedy set and march into her new life. Instead, she marches right into Eddie Rodriguez, but he's nothing like the boy she left behind 10 years ago. I'm getting second chance vibe. She's a comedian. She comes back to the Jersey Shore. I feel like it'll be great for the summertime, and I love a second chance. Then I have a book that I actually think if I don't read this year, I'm gonna get rid of, but for some reason I can't let go of it. I tried to read this, was it 2 or 3 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago. It's called The Girl He Used to Know by Tracy Garvis Graves. It just seems really good, and it's a second chance romance. Like I keep saying, it's my favorite trope, but I'm pretty sure they're both playing chess or something. It says that she's anxious in social situations. She'd rather be the librarian surrounded by her books or playing chess. Jonathan joined the chess club, and he lost his first game in his heart to the shy and awkward yet brilliant and beautiful Anika. It says they bring out the best in each other, they fall in love, and then tragedy shatters their relationship and tears them apart. A decade later, fate reunites them in Chicago. I don't know. It sounds really good, but for some reason, I have not picked it up, and I don't know why, but it has to happen this year. Hopefully in the summer, but at some point I have to read this book. Then I have The Last Love Note by Emma Gray. It's the same author as Pictures of You that I talked about earlier. This one actually started a few weeks ago in a video if you watched that one, but I never finished it. I just couldn't really get into it, and I was like, I'm gonna save this for like summertime because it takes place, or they're going on a vacation to Australia. I didn't get to that part yet, but it takes place in Australia in the summertime. I'm pretty sure she loses her husband. She's a newly single mother, and it's just like her kind of like finding herself again and getting into like another relationship and everything like that. So obviously grief is gonna be a big part of this book, but I heard it was really good summertime romance, so I saved it for this time. It wasn't a hard DNF, but I definitely want to get back into it, and I loved her writing style in Pictures of You. It was so fast paced, I couldn't put it down, really bingeable, so I'm hoping I feel the same about this one when I start it over and try it again. Then I have Songs of Summer by Jane L. Rosen. I just picked this up in a recent book shopping video. Same author of 7 Summer Weekends that I recently talked about as well. I really liked the general fiction, women's fiction of that book, so I'm really excited to read this one. I think she's trying to find her mom. It says she's 30, she has big plans for a vintage record shop, and is about to be engaged to her childhood best friend. But she stumbles across a letter she wrote her future self when she was 13, and she realizes it may not be enough. The letter ignites a desire to find her birth mother and discover where she really belongs. But I'm really into the women's fiction of this, like I said, so I'm excited to read it. I liked her writing style. It was fast paced. I liked the setting of her last one, so excited to read this one eventually. And then I also bought in the same video Far and Away by Amy Popel. This one is actually about 2 families that swap lives that live in completely different countries. I think one's in Berlin and then one's in Texas in the United States, and it's a general contemporary fiction novel. I think it's kind of a bit of like a comedy into it, but I don't know too much about it. I just picked it up because I really liked the cover of it, and then the summary sounded really interesting. I've never read anything by this author, so let me know if you've read this or anything by this author. I'm really excited about it. I feel like it can be a very fun read. See how it goes when they swap lives and how they, you know, get accustomed to totally different setting, different house. I think the concept's really fun, so excited about this one. And then the last one I have, I just recently bought, is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. This one's actually a mystery novel, I'm pretty sure. I literally read maybe 4 pages. I read 8 pages actually, and then I put it down because my slump was just, it's just so bad. I heard the audiobook of this one. It's really, really good, so maybe I'll do that. It basically, I think, is about a woman who shows up to this shore dead, and they're trying to figure out what happened, and the people that live on this shore just like know all about it. It's very secluded, something like that. The chapters were really short as I was like flipping through it, so I'm excited about it. It feels very different to what I read. I haven't read a mystery in a while. I've heard amazing things about it. I've had a couple people tell me it's like been 5 stars, favorite book of the year, so I definitely want to get to it soon. Hopefully once I get out of my slump, maybe it will get me out of my slump. People have said it might, so still on my radar. It's like pretty high on my radar for my summer TBR. And then I have a couple written down that I don't have but I would like to get to specifically in the summer, but I wouldn't be upset if it goes into the fall time. The first one is Summer in the City by Alex Astor. I heard this one is like perfect if you love rom-coms. It feels like a rom-com movie, and it obviously takes place in the summertime. I think anything in the city setting is really fun to read about. I have no idea what this book is about. I know that the inside of the book from the Barnes & Noble's edition is really cute. It has a map in it. I don't know what it's about. I want to read it in the summer. Maybe it'll help me get out of my slump because it'll be fast-paced. I think it's like under 300 pages as well. I've been honestly waiting for the summertime to read this book, so now is the perfect time. Hopefully I get to it before the summer ends, but this one could be one to read while I'm in my slump because it seems like it'll be fast-paced and fun. So that's on my radar. Then I have The Compound. This one was pitched to me as like a Love Island mystery psychological thriller, and I think that's just such an interesting concept, especially coming off of Love Island. I'm also going to start the UK one soon, so coming off of that, reading a book about it but like in the psychological like thriller type setting, murder mystery, I think is a really fun mix, and I need something really fast-paced, and I heard that's exactly what this is. So it's on my radar, and hopefully I can get to this one soon as well. The last one I have is 7 Summers by Paige Toon. I got this one pitched to me so much recently, and I was trying to find it a few weeks ago. No Barnes & Noble, no bookstores near me have it, so I'm just waiting for the right time to read it. I think people were telling me to read it because it's a second chance summer romance. I think they spent, I'm assuming, 7 summers together. I don't really know the concept or the story about it, but I know it takes place in a summer, like, small town situation by the beach. I think. I literally have no idea, but I want to read it really, really bad. I have high expectations for it because I love a summer second chance romance. We'll see when I get to it, hopefully before summer ends because it takes place in the summer, and I'm a seasonal reader for sure. I love reading a summer beach romance in the summertime. It feels weird to me reading that in the wintertime for some reason. I just can't do it. It's not like, it doesn't make sense to me. So hopefully we'll get to some of these books in the summertime. That is it for my TBR and my recommendations. Hopefully you got at least one to read over the summertime. Let me know if you're going to read any of these, or if you have read any of them, your thoughts. If you have any recommendations for me to get out of my slump, any books you think are perfect for the summertime that I didn't talk about, please let me know. But that is it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you did, and I will see y'all hopefully in the next one. Bye!